peoples out there. I'm your goddess Nazca. Here at Truckum now. We're reacting to...
Darkest Moments in History TV, number 7.
The problem
Water,
with
traps,
AI,
old
they
cars,
repeat
bed
jokes a lot,
scrapers,
yeah.
hidden depths. It's the perfect place.
Oh, more Pegasus.
Oh, yeah, more. Does a lot of song videos lately. I think.
Hey, check him out.
Accident.
On the 29th of June 2025, a group of teenagers ventured into the Miriam River in Bacabal, Brazil for...
Oh yeah, that's how you start all bad things. Group of teenagers going out in the middle of who knows where.
In Brazil. It's group of teenagers, Brazil. That's all you
Yeah,
need.
this is already gonna be bad. This is already
quick
the
morning
start of a
swim.
horror movie.
But after several minutes in the water, the group started to realize that one of its members, 13-year-old Raisa, was no
That's
longer beside
13?
them. And after calling out her name and
Excuse it? Did she not look like she was 20? That was 13?
Never was a CJ Slender Trials. Shredder.
Shredder.
Oh, Shredder. I've seen it, but I haven't seen it. We never reacted to it.
Yeah, we watched it a while ago.
She looks 21.
I know.
searching the
right?
surrounding area, the realization set in. Raisa had disappeared. It was now likely somewhere in that murky water around them. The news sent shockwaves throughout the community, and straight away locals filled the area to help find this girl. But their attempts were all futile, and with each passing moment it grew more and more likely that Raisa had tragically drowned, with the search efforts shifting to recovery efforts the next morning.
See, this is why you don't go swimming in a river.
And a river in Brazil, which has piranhas and pythons, just like 20-foot long pythons.
Not to mention just the water current. You don't know what the water current's going to be like.
Yeah.
The tragedy led to various news stations arriving on the scene to help document the search, and for one reporter, Lenildo Frazao, he couldn't help but view Raisa's story as a cautionary tale. The Miriam River is particularly unassuming from the surface, which is exactly what made it so dangerous, since it carried with it an unexpectedly strong current and a bottom that was littered with sudden drop-offs, as even in shallow sections, one step could plunge you into deep water without warning.
Oh.
As a result, tragedies like this had sadly happened here before, and for Lenildo, this was the perfect time to highlight the river's dangers, in the hope of preventing one from ever happening again.
Swimming in a river is dangerous. Depends on what country you live in. Well, this is Brazil.
Yeah, also, I think, we have the Missouri River. You definitely don't want to swim in that, because I've seen whirlpools go down the river.
And he had a unique idea to help achieve this. Rather than just explaining how dangerous the river was, Lenildo wanted to demonstrate it. And so he began to take off his
Why?
shoes and his pants before entering the water with his
Wait!
microphone.
No! Why would you think this is a good idea if you're going to be taking off your pants during your recording?
Foi justamente aqui, pessoal. Nós vamos entrar agora na água aqui para mostrar para vocês o local. Olha, a gente já vê que aqui a água é
I mean, I'm
muito
glad you had
forte.
swim
Ó.
trunks
E
underneath,
vai
but
descendo, ó.
still.
Vixe, Maria, vai descendo aqui, viu? Ó.
The camera rolled as he waded into the river, at first going just to the depths of his knees, before the riverbed began to drop
Stop!
beneath him, sending the water all the way up to his chest.
Então, pessoal, e ainda tem a correnteza. Eu já,
Stop!
Ó, passinho para
Why
frente,
show...
a água já tá praticamente...
And all while this happened, he spoke to the viewers at home about how unsafe this area
He ain't learning nothing. He's not going to learn a thing because this is going to be the last time he's going to get taught this lesson.
Yeah, and then he's going to have, like... Next thing he's over the gun range will show gun safety.
could be, especially for unattended children who weren't strong swimmers. But even with most of his body now submerged, he wanted to take it even further in order to prove
Stop!
his point. And so he continued wading towards the center of the
Why
river,
couldn't Johnny Somali do this?
right in the direction of the noticeably fast-moving current.
Is this what we call,
The Darwin Award?
Until suddenly,
Olha, andei pouquinho aqui, ó. A água já tá acima do meu peito.
And the water is already
você ver a
above me.
situação.
Look
Se eu
at
andar
the
pouquinho
situation.
aqui, deixa
If
eu
I
ver
walk a
aqui.
little more,
Ó, vou
let me
andar mais.
see. I'll walk
Ah,
further.
ó,
Why?
ó, ó,
Look at
aqui.
the depth here. Oi?
Oh, someone bit him.
Lenildu physically recoiled and let out a loud yell. He stood there for a moment, anxiously glaring into the water, before telling his crew, "I think there's something down here underwater." Whatever he had touched in those...
Did he find the girl?
murky depths didn't seem natural, with Lenildu describing it as being soft. And quickly, he made his way back to the shore, where he further explained why he was so shaken by the ordeal, admitting that what he stepped on felt like an arm.
Found her.
This is the exact moment that many believe Raisa was found, as just moments later, several locals would retrace Lenildu's steps and discover the 13-year-old's body in the same exact location. Raisa had died from an accidental drowning, as she wasn't a strong swimmer, and had likely fallen into the deep water where she was held down by the current, the exact conditions that Lenildu had been warning the viewers about, when he unknowingly stepped on her corpse, with the entire ordeal culminating into what can only be described as one of the darkest moments in television.
So it basically did a Logan Paul.
I wouldn't say that because he's not recording her dead body.
Ugh, I couldn't imagine. Ugh.
I mean, I guess it was a good thing he did do that because at least they found her. At least they can put her to rest.
That reminds me of when I went on that float trip about 14 years ago when we decided to go floating down a river during a drought when there was hardly any water.
And you scraped your booty.
Scraped my booty and then cut my foot open on rocks. And then my mood really went sour when we passed the sewer treatment plant.
Ew. So stinky.
Oh, don't be a filter. Yeah, it's filtered piss.
Ew.
History.
How far and what lengths have you gone to fight things off?
Oh.
7.
That's why you are only on
Individually, they're just like you and me. But together, they are a source of endless fascination.
And we'll conduct a rigorous scientific experiment into twin telepathy.
Telepathy.
Take care out on the street.
Why is this
Use
creepy?
your head and then your feet.
That was creepy.
Oh no.
It was a peculiar sight. As traffic flowed through one of the UK's busiest roadways, the M6, CCTV cameras captured two women walking down the narrow median, with a vehicle speeding past them on either side. These women were Sabina and Ursula Eriksson, 40-year-old identical twin sisters who grew up in Sweden, with Ursula eventually moving to the US and Sabina to Ireland. Just one day before this footage was taken, on May 16, 2008, Ursula had made the long flight to visit Sabina at her home in Dublin. But things got off to a troubling start when Sabina got into a verbal altercation with her husband and the father of her two kids, prompting both sisters to leave the house in the middle of the night without telling anyone.
Huh. Where is this going? Okay, so they're going to be on the road, so I'm guessing this might have something to do with traffic.
I think I've actually seen this.
You've seen
The next
this?
morning, the sisters emerged in the city of Liverpool, where they visited a police station and reported that Sabina's kids were in danger
both
and were
from
unsafe in her husband's care. Law enforcement briefly looked into the matter, but ultimately they didn't seem all too concerned with the children's well-being, and rather they seemed more troubled by the women themselves. Their behavior was just somewhat off, so much so that shortly after leaving the station, they were kicked off a public bus for exhibiting erratic behavior, which some passengers found threatening. And after
Were they being possessed or something?
Possessed, or they're both on drugs.
the altercation, this erratic behavior
that's
continued.
lots of
As for unknown
bullets.
reasons, the pair began walking towards the
Yay,
M6,
thank you.
and then eventually right onto it, where we see them now. It defied any sort of logic, and put them in an extremely dangerous position, a position where one wrong move could lead to a horrific accident. And sure enough, that's exactly what would happen. Though it was
The
anything.
funny thing is, I've seen stuff like this over in St. Louis. People walking down the interstate. Yeah, walking down the middle of the interstate and then try to cross it. I've seen shit like this over in St. Louis.
Oh, I'm
But
guessing that's how
accidental.
this is going to go back. 'cause they're
Without
gonna try to
warning,
cross
both
it.
women turned and then ran directly into the road, and for
Why?
Sabina, directly into a car traveling in the fast lane. Immediately, local police were inundated with urgent calls about the ordeal, leading to a group of officers being dispatched to the scene. And coincidentally, the same group just so happened to have a camera crew following them.
How did they end up in that medium in the first place?
I don't know, maybe there was a part, maybe they crossed the highway, didn't get hit the first time.
And then the second time.
as part of the show Motorway Cops. The show follows traffic officers as they handle their many daily encounters, ranging from mundane traffic infractions all the way to devastating tragedies. And this segment seemed destined for the latter.
Lane 3 is obviously the fastest lane in the motorway. Anyone being hit, you're expecting serious injury, if not life-threatening.
Despite the officers fearing the worst, however, when they arrived on the scene, they were met with a surprising sight. Standing there
still
before
alive?
them was Ursula and Sabina, who, despite being struck by a car at high speeds, appeared completely unharmed.
Demon possession. I vote demon possession.
They got clipped and they just
Demon possession. They are on the
In fact,
highest of high drugs.
PCP, because anybody on PCP, it turns off your pain receptors. I've heard stories when I was volunteering at the cops, like people would rip their muscles on PCP.
Wait. Okay, so even though they can't feel the pain of getting hit by a car, shouldn't they still technically be dead?
It just depends on how the car hit them.
The internal bleeding.
I've seen this before.
Sisters were entirely calm, as they were shown casually speaking amongst themselves as if nothing ever happened. It was a miracle. And as the officers began trying to piece together the cause of this whole ordeal,
They're gonna
everyone
die
at the
later?
scene began to breathe a collective sigh of relief. There was no way that any of them could have known that their roles had just been cast in one of the most disturbing television scenes of all time.
Right, what we've got is they were in the central res. They were trying to cross the Bravo, so as we approached, they hadn't seen us, Mother. The red one's got knocked down by the red car over there. I've got an ambulance en route for her.
Right.
She seems all right, but I'm not a doctor. She has been knocked down.
Is
by
she
a-
the one that speaks English or the other one?
Yes.
Oh,
The other
what?
one, she's done-
Without a single word being spoken, Ursula dashed into the middle of oncoming traffic and directly into the path of a massive truck traveling at over 60 miles per hour.
I don't know. I don't feel like this. I feel like this was demon possession. I'm gonna just say that right now, because that's... I don't know, this is weird.
Can I tell a story that happened? Actually, two stories for my trucking job. These both happened before I started driving. One guy was coming back from St. Louis. It was dark. And someone wanted to Minecraft themselves by wearing all black around their body and just stood out in the middle of the highway. And when he came over the hill, it was around Columbia, he didn't even see it, just... And then the second story got told, are where we get off, like, say you're coming east, if you're coming in back west from Kansas, you go underneath a bridge under I-70 to get to Fairfax. Lady jumped off the bridge right as the truck was going, but she landed on top of the trailer. Guy didn't even know it till he came in the gate, and he looked up in the mirror and someone saw an arm hanging down from the top of the trailer.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I hope that never happens to you. Because that's gotta be, I guess at least you tried to become a police, so you saw some really disturbing stuff already.
I've heard disturbing stuff. The funny one is gonna be so horrible. A guy I was doing a ride along told me a story. Said there was a principal who got caught with CP on their computer, and he didn't want to get caught. He took the easy way out. Went up to his front house, up to his front bedroom, put a shotgun in his mouth, and Minecrafted himself. Blew the top half of his head, and it went out the window. He said it's happened right around Halloween, so when he showed up, he thought it was a Halloween decoration.
Lovely. I guess corpses make lovely Halloween decorations.
He literally thought it was a Halloween decoration. So he went upstairs and saw the top half of his head was gone, and saw it went out the window.
It happened in a literal instant. There was hardly any chance to react, and before anyone could even begin to process what they had just witnessed, Sabina would also run into the road, not after her sister, but rather straight into the path of an oncoming Volkswagen.
The other one, she's done a run.
Oh, she did.
Mike Alpha, we need ambulance. Senior officers to the scene. We've got 2 possible fatals.
Within just seconds, this completely calm scene had turned to utter chaos, and both women were now lying on the pavement. Miraculously, they both were still alive, Sabina was stable but knocked unconscious, while Ursula was in rough shape. Her legs had been pulverized by the truck, with paramedics describing them as looking as if they had exploded. And while she lay there on the pavement, she was wide awake and experiencing everything. Within seconds of receiving medical attention, Ursula began to cry out. But strangely, it wasn't in pain. Rather, she was yelling at the paramedics, cursing, and even attacking them for trying to help her.
Calm down. Calm down. Mine's very aggressive, spitting at me.
Shouting things like,
drugs.
I recognize you. I know you're not real.
Come on, you've hit your head. Calm down. We are the police. We are the police.
It was clear that she was suffering from some sort of delusion, but while officers had their hands full trying to subdue her, things were about to get even more hectic as Sabina started to regain consciousness.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
She had been brutally struck by a car, as evidenced by the damage to the vehicle itself. But like Ursula, she also appeared almost entirely unfazed, as she stood up and began to scream to her sister,
must be high.
"They're going to steal your organs." One of the officers tried to hold her back, but Sabina resisted.
This is drugs.
Oh.
Eventually shoving the woman to the ground, before
did
once
not do a
again
good job of
taking
holding
off
her
into
back.
oncoming traffic.
No! Stay! Stay there! Calm down, calm down, calm down!
Thankfully, this time the cars managed to avoid her, but it would take 6 officers to finally restrain her, and even with that many people, it was still a struggle, as her strength was unlike anything that they had seen in a woman her size. And with Sabina now subdued, the chaos was finally over. In the following moments, Ursula was airlifted to a local hospital where she underwent an extensive...
I don't know. Why would these two women... I don't get why these two women would be doing drugs. Unless they were forced to take them. Maybe they were like roofied or what. Not really with roofie, but you know what I mean. Ultimately, I'm going with demon possession here. This is weird.
People on PCP, they do some crazy shit.
I don't know these people, but I'm just saying... It seems weird that these two women would take it like that. I feel like they were drugged.
Yet successful emergency surgery, while Sabina was shockingly found to have no injuries, which allowed her to be discharged into police custody after just 5 hours, where she was promptly arrested and sentenced to 1 day in prison for assaulting an officer, as well as trespassing on the motorway. And with both women now safe, one question burned at the forefront of everyone's minds.
Yeah,
Why had the Erickson twins done this? Well, the immediate theory was that this was all the result of drug use. But surprisingly, when given toxicology tests, no drugs or alcohol would be found in either of their systems.
Told you! I told you! Demons! Told you!
Demons?
Demons! No drugs in their system.
They were entirely sober during this ordeal, which left only one plausible theory, that this was all the result of some sort of mental breakdown, with both women somehow experiencing its effects at the same time. Today, this case is used as one of the most glaring examples of a psychological disorder known as folie à deux, in which one person suffering from delusions transmits said delusions onto a different person, leading to both people experiencing the same misconstrued version.
And that's what happens when you have a twin. You both can go crazy together.
Of reality. And while this is only a theory, it's clear that regardless of the how or why, these women were extremely mentally unwell during this event. In fact, during the TV program, an officer even mentioned that this could be a 136.
Yeah. Is she under arrest, ladies?
136?
Well, 136 if she is.
Which is a code that allows law enforcement to hold people on account of their mental health to assure that they're safe to return to the public. But shockingly, not only did this never happen, but Sabina was released without ever being given a mental health assessment. In fact, she was never so much as looked over by a mental health professional, and was instead released the very next day after the incident. On top of this, when she was released, she was given no information about Ursula's whereabouts or her condition, or even resources to help find her way home, leaving Sabina still mentally unwell, and now stranded in an unfamiliar city, not knowing what happened to her sister. And sadly, her delusions were far from over.
Oh, great. Good job. This is a good example of people not caring about others.
This is called the National Health System.
In Britain.
Yeah.
Oh, not every twin goes crazy together.
As As she left the police station on the 19th of May, Sabina had nowhere to go, and so she began to wander, carrying her belongings in the same evidence bag that the police had given her earlier that day. Eventually, she would happen across two men walking their dogs, and as she stopped to pet them, Sabina asked the owners where the nearest hotel was. But seemingly recognizing that the woman wasn't well, one of the men, Glenn Hollinshed, offered to have her stay at his place, to which Sabina happily obliged. But once inside Hollinshed's home, Sabina began acting extremely paranoid, checking the windows constantly and believing that her cigarettes had been poisoned. Despite this though, Hollinshed was patient, and he helped her make calls around the area to track down Ursula, while making sure that Sabina was eating and drinking. The following day, Hollinshed was preparing dinner for Sabina when he stepped out of the house to ask his neighbor for tea. But just minutes after returning home with the bags, he would once again step out of the house, only this time, he was completely covered in blood. As he stumbled and screamed,
This is why you don't let strangers into your house.
Yeah.
I know he was trying to be a good person, help someone who's out on the streets, but you don't know the level of insanity. You don't know this person. This is a bad... God, I don't care how sweet you are. No.
Stabbed me. As he collapsed to the ground, the neighbor rushed over to try and help, but the damage was already done. Hollinshed would let out one final soft whisper, saying, "Look after my dog for me," before breathing his final breath. For unknown reasons, in that house, Sabina had stabbed Glenn Hollinshed, and by the time law enforcement arrived, she was long gone, having fled the house with a hammer in her hand, which she used to strike her head repeatedly as she mumbled incoherently and walked down the sidewalk.
Come on, demon! This is demon behavior!
Demon?
She stabbed that poor guy for no reason, and just... Oh, this is messed up.
Eventually, a man passing by tried to intervene, but Sabina immediately attacked, brandishing a roof tile that she had hidden in her pocket and using it to strike him on the head, nearly knocking him...
A roof tile?
Maybe if you broke it up, it could...
How? Why? How did...
pants?
How? Wait. Why not use the hammer, though?
It would take several minutes for police to finally catch up with her, but just like the day prior, she took off, leading to a chase that ended with Sabina being surrounded on a 40-foot tall bridge that passed over a highway, and recognizing that there was nowhere left for her to go, she jumped.
Yep.
Somehow, Sabina would cheat death once again, and despite suffering 2 broken ankles and...
Oh, come on!
How the fuck is this bitch surviving?
No, that's exactly why I'm saying she's possessed by a demon. Think about it. Because she didn't feel any pain or anything when she got hit, and she's constantly doing crazy shit. She doesn't have any drugs in her system.
I don't know.
A skull fracture. She was alive. And after a lengthy recovery, she was put on trial for the murder of Glenn Hollinshed, where she would never give a single comment as to why she did what she did, leaving her motive a total mystery to this day. Though it seems clear that it was at least partially a result of her delusions, with the defense pointing to Folie à Deux as a potential explanation. And in the end, it was deemed that Sabina was not mentally fit to make decisions at the time of the slaying. And ultimately, she was given a prison sentence of just 5 years.
5 years, you stabbed a man and all you get is 5 years. What is the UK?
UK sucks. I'm sorry. If you live there, I'm sorry.
This is truly one of the most disturbing TV cases of all time. And for as shocking as it is on its own, what I find most chilling is the fact that these officers mentioned holding her for a psychiatric evaluation, which ultimately never happened.
Good job.
Well, 136 if she is.
It was a massive oversight. In fact, it was so glaring that the police department allegedly contacted the show and asked them to remove this entire section. As if they had just followed through with that code 136, Sabina would have been held for longer than just one night.
And that poor man wouldn't have lost his life because he was trying to be a good person and help someone on the streets, not knowing that they are cray-cray.
Which meant that she
look at that. Look at that face.
Not only may have been given the help she needed, but she also never would have had the chance to meet Glenn Hollinshed that fateful day. Since her release from prison in 2011, Sabina promptly disappeared from the public eye, and neither she nor Ursula has ever been heard from again, meaning we have no idea whatever happened to
There are the things out in the forest. Bigfoot's gonna find them and do an AI video on.
The Erickson twins.
They just simply tend to be making the same decisions at the same times.
no.
They're thinking in the same way.
Super talent. Wait, isn't this supposed to be America's Got Talent? Is that the British variant?
I thought it was the Cowboys for a second. Yeah, it's some British.
It's December 2021. A couple receives a warm welcome as they walk onto the stage.
Dude, I loved America's Got Talent. That was like one of the things I loved watching a bunch with my family when I was younger. I'm guessing this is the British variant of it.
Romanian version.
Ready to compete in the
Romanian.
Croatian television show Super Talent, the country's version of America's Got Talent. But it's clear this excitement from the crowd wasn't shared by the show's host, who turned to someone standing behind the camera and flashed the unmistakable look of concern. In the minutes prior, the audience at home was introduced to the pair, 34-year-old singer Roman Bernata and his wife, 44-year-old violinist Bianca Kolompar, along with their child, who would be watching on as the two shared their musical talents with the world.
Lady, cover your titties.
That kid's been sucking on silicone.
In their day-to-day lives, Roman was a professional goalkeeper for a local soccer team, while Bianca was a professional violinist with a doctorate in music. And while on paper this all seems fairly normal, it was immediately clear to those watching that this couple was anything but. The two frequently went on long-winded and bizarre rants, with Bianca opening up about her breast enlargement surgery.
I had a great desire to get them back. I had breast surgery.
Yeah, we all can fucking
And the two
tell.
discussing at length their belief in a living God who walked the earth.
But I feel I really have the contact with the living. Have contact with the living God. Yeah. Do you think maybe they should do a psych evaluation before letting some people on shows?
No, they don't want this because
They really wants to show off her special melons.
Osjetim, stvarno imam taj kontakt sa živim Bogom I mislim da je Bog svugdje oko nas, da
And
je
I
Bog
think
osoba,
that
energija.
God is a person and energy.
Ja, znači,
God, he's got that serial killer kind of smile about him.
God.
At the same time, yes.
But it was their performance itself that proved to be the strangest part of their time on the show.
Pozdrav svima.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Vi se mene ne sjećate,
Don't
jel da?
you remember
Ne.
me? No.
Prije puno godina.
It was many years ago.
Da.
I remember when we were filming at the school.
Ugostiteljska škola, jel ide hardware?
Is the hardware working?
Ide. Je, ja se
I apologize, but I really have to ask you this.
ispričavam, ali stvarno moram vas to pitati.
Roman's introduction was fairly uncomfortable, as he made mention of a time that he had met one of the judges years before, who clearly had no recollection of the encounter, which seemed to frustrate him, as his demeanor quickly became hostile.
What is your talent? What did you come to introduce yourself with?
Ja nemam nikakav.
I don't have any talent.
Oh.
That guy's smile was very creepy. Yeah, it kind of made me think of the Happy Salesman. Happy Mask
Anything
Salesman.
like this on America's Got Talent or anything close to this?
Not like this.
Pa šta ste onda došli?
So what did you come for? Work.
Ali potpuno ne.
The show is called Super Talent, my friend.
Nebitno, emisija se zove Super Talent, kolegica...
I love it, don't worry.
Nemojte mi zamjeriti.
Alo, polako.
Hello, take it easy. Take it easy. I think we'll have the floor here after all. What?
Polako, mislim da ipak ćemo mi ovdje voditi riječ.
Može, pa.
Leading to Roman receiving his first X before he even sang a single note.
Ko je kolegica...
If a college... wait, what was that word? College... What was that word?
Collagen. I don't know.
Ask what your
colleague.
Colleague asked what your talent is, and our show is called Super Talent.
Pitala koji je vaš talent, a naša emisija se zove Super Talent, a vi tvrdite da...
And you claim you have no talent, then I ask you what you came for.
Nemate talent, onda vas ja pitam pošto ste došli.
Radite.
Work.
Okay, hvala.
Okay, thank you.
It was a rough start for the couple, and by the time they did get to perform, things only got worse.
If I get copyright claim for this, I'm throwing shit. Their faces.
The final count was moon. I am the moon. You will suck and had it move away.
Admittedly, the couple didn't sound awful, but it was clear the judges were frustrated by Roman's demeanor, prompting all four of them to hit their X, signaling the end of the couple's performance. Or at least they thought.
What is he there? Yeah.
I've loved and cried.
As the two just kept on performing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, have that ever happened?
I'm not sure, actually. I don't feel like that's ever happened, at least not in a recorded session. When the X's go off, they cut the mic, I guess, or something.
Playing over the sounds of the judges shouting their name and the deafening silence from the crowd. With the two going until a producer finally had to step in from behind the camera and officially cut them off. But even then, the couple continued their antics, this time by protesting the judge's decision, with Bianca even threatening to go to the newspaper and expose their behavior to the press, all while Roman stood angrily to the side, glaring at the panel before him. And with that, Roman and Bianca's time on Super Talent was over, and they not only walked away without receiving the grand prize, but they also left with shattered reputations, as this segment became notorious among fans of Super Talent, with the couple being considered one of the most unusual acts to ever feature on the show. But despite its virality, this performance isn't what Roman is most widely remembered for today.
Uh-oh. You want to take a guess?
He killed one of the judges, his wife, or his kid, or all three.
I vote, wife and kid. I'm not sure. I don't think the judges.
What was the wrestler that did that?
Huh? Oh,
not Eddie Guerrero,
he was sad because of Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling
Oh!
about this.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. Apparently he's famous for walking the streets nude.
He went to New York City?
On February 6th, 2022, residents in Rijeka, Croatia were met with the sight of a fully nude man wandering the city streets. It was Roman Bernada. And while most stared on in amusement, laughing to themselves and snapping photos, what they were witnessing was actually one of the most disturbing events the city had ever seen.
Penis?
After his disastrous performance just 1 year prior, Roman continued to pursue a career in singing, taking every opportunity he could to share his music with the world, often joining Bianca on her YouTube channel, and singing on the streets for tips, where he actually made a decent amount of money. Though because of his notorious television moment, he would often be harassed and even have the money he earned stolen from him.
Oh,
one day, while performing outside of a local soup kitchen, he was introduced to a woman named Darnika Krevich, a 67-year-old who relied on the soup kitchen for consistent meals. And after hearing Roman sing, she became a legitimate fan of his music, leading to the two striking up a friendship. And despite Darnika not having much, she offered to take Roman to a local coffee shop on February 6th, 2022, where she treated him to a warm cup of tea on a cold winter day. And so the two sat inside a restaurant called the Cafe Pin, with everything seeming completely normal, until a server noticed that Roman started to look almost sickly, like he could barely keep himself upright, as his body was starting to slump over the table, his eyes barely open.
What?
The server rushed over to help, but Roman recoiled and shouted,
Just try calling the police on me. Huh.
Is he gonna run out in traffic?
Is this more demons?
Try calling the police on me. And so, not wanting to escalate things, the server left, only returning later to drop off their check, which is when Roman's behavior took an even more drastic turn. He began feeling around his pants pocket for his wallet, before looking desperately around the table, but there was no sign of it. And so he grabbed Darnika's bag and rifled through it, before yelling, "You snake, you whore, where's my wallet?" Though when he still couldn't find it in Darnika's bag, his anger turned to violence as he stood up and rushed Darnika, grabbing her by the head and shaking her, screaming in her face, accusing her of being a thief. This time, multiple people inside the cafe rushed over to hold him back, but Roman was too strong, too angry, and with seemingly no effort at all, he pushed everyone away, completely unfazed by their attempts.
Yeah. This one, I won't even suggest drugs because he's been showing this kind of personality throughout different segments. So yeah, again, I'm gonna say demons. Why is that his famous outside?
In that moment, no one could have stopped Roman. Darnika was entirely helpless, and so the crowd inside the cafe watched as Roman grabbed her by the neck and dragged her behind the bar, and then proceeded to kick, then stomp, and then jump directly on her, over and over again, each time landing on her head. It was a rage so demented that he actually began to smile a wide manic grin as he jumped and chanted, "Whore, witch, die." After what felt like an eternity, Roman stopped.
Yeah, no one's gonna... okay, if everyone's like weak little pee-pee and they can't stop this guy, could someone at least maybe, I don't know, throw a bottle at hit him over his head with something to make him stop, perhaps? I don't know.
Before sprinting out of the restaurant, leaving Darnika entirely unrecognizable and dead on the floor. The same floor where, just feet away, Roman's wallet lay, having innocently fallen out of his pocket shortly before. Outside.
I hate when you just misplace something. It's like that when you lose your phone.
Okay, seriously, come on. This is definitely demon work right here. This is
Roman
messed
removed
up.
his blood-soaked clothes and walked completely naked into the city center, much to the amusement of the passerbys who had no idea what he had just done, until eventually he made his way into...
He said that they tried to stop him, but he was too strong. Again, leading for more, me really suggesting this guy was possessed by a demon here. If he's too strong, they hit him over the head with a bottle.
To a nearby police station and blankly stated, "I am not well."
No shit.
This sentiment was true in so many regards. Roman hadn't been well for quite a long time. Since a young age, it's believed he had dealt with undiagnosed schizophrenia that had led to uncontrollable anger issues, before developing an alcohol and substance abuse problem that only exacerbated his symptoms. And by the time he was an adult, Roman became so delusional that he believed he was a disciple sent from God to touch the world with his music.
Okay, I want to know, he was hanging out with this lady. Where is his wife and son and all this?
Something that he eventually convinced Bianca of as well. So in their Super Talent episode, when Bianca mentioned their love for a living God that walked the earth, she was likely referencing Roman.
Ali ja osjetim, stvarno imam taj kontakt sa živim Bogom I mislim da je Bog svugdje oko nas, da je Bog osoba, energija, istovremeno, da.
Roman was severely unwell, and no one in his life was keeping him in check. In fact, those closest with him were only feeding his delusions, with all of his issues coming to a head on the day of the incident. And when he realized his wallet was gone, Roman rushed to assume that Darnika was the one who robbed him, perhaps as a result of having his money stolen frequently on the streets. But the sad reality was, in a sea of people trying to exploit and mock Roman, Darnika was one of the few who actually truly cared about him and legitimately believed in his talents. And yet, he killed her in one of the most evil ways imaginable, all over a simple misunderstanding that was entirely his fault. In the end, Roman Bernardo was deemed unfit to stand trial and was never sentenced to serve any jail time, instead being given a 40-year sentence in a mental health facility, where he's since been described as a model patient, with his good behavior awarding him the opportunity to leave the facility for days at a time for therapeutic purposes.
Okay. What happened to his wife and son during all that, though?
Nature is king. It's a mystery.
Man can only watch.
I'm assuming
there's nothing out there. It's your imagination.
Gardner World, Rod and Rachel.
It was the start of yet another adventure for the crew of the television show Gardner's
Adventure!
World. This British program has been on the air since the 1960s,
Well, this is all Britishy stuff. So obviously
His
we would
wife
have
and
never heard
son
of this.
fine last time I heard.
You actually know
and
this.
provides viewers with
Interesting.
tips on how to maintain their garden while showing off a variety of unique plant life, which often brought them to remote areas of the globe. This particular episode was filmed on February 5th, 2020, in the Drakensberg mountain range of Lesotho, Africa, with the host, Nick Bailey, making the long journey to track down one
This was in 2020.
February, it was before the pandemic got real bad.
I know, but it was still in 2020.
specific flower.
One species which
Flower.
grows wild all over the country and has been a real favourite with British gardeners for generations is the gladiolus.
This delicate flower would have been familiar with many of the show's viewers, as it was quite popular in the UK. But in this region, there existed a unique species that had only been seen a handful of times in the last century.
Let me guess, this unique species is probably poisonous.
They brought back the coronavirus.
Deadly flower. Just before the pandemic started. Yepers.
Since it only grew in one particular valley in this one particular mountain range. Its scientific name is the Gladiolus microcarpus, and there were two people who knew it better than anyone else.
Pretty.
Rod and Rachel Saunders were well-renowned botanists who studied the world of South African flowers in depth, with their favorite being the gladioli, as they would spend days and even months on end roaming areas just like this to learn everything they could
See,
about
before the internet, this is what autistic people did.
them, making them the perfect duo to help with the show.
Why gladioli? There's so many different plant species in South Africa you could have picked.
I think they're beauty. Some of them are so exquisitely beautiful, you actually just...
I'm bad.
Get out.
I thought she was a guy.
She looks like the AI chimp.
want to sit down and cry when you see them.
But even with their vast knowledge of this region, there was always an element of danger when traversing it. Its climate is often volatile, and conditions are known to turn on a dime, making safely navigating this area extremely difficult to downright impossible. This was apparent even on the day of filming, as a dense fog had rolled in, and given the steep and rocky landscape, one wrong step could spell disaster.
Oh, okay.
This didn't-
The flower is... There's nothing wrong with the flower. The issue is the flower's location is going to be deadly.
Yeah.
That's where this is going.
Stop the crew from carrying onward, though, as Rod and Rachel were relentless in their pursuit. They would do anything to find these flowers. And sure enough, the segment ended as they did exactly that.
We've come about 4 times looking for this plant, and this is the best I've ever seen it. It is looking absolutely gorgeous.
With that, Rod and Rachel's time on Gardener's World was over, but their journey through this area certainly wasn't. As the cameras cut, the crew made their way back to their makeshift base camp miles away, where they said their goodbyes, with Nick Bailey capturing a photo with a beloved couple and sharing it onto Twitter before parting ways.
Well, at least they got to live out their life dream of seeing this flower.
Now what's gonna happen?
This is making me think of the movie Up for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Leaving the couple behind, as rather than returning to their home in Cape Town, this was actually just the start of what would be a multi-month expedition into this region, with the Ngoi Forest Reserve being their final destination. Along with being botanists, the couple were also avid seed collectors, and had started a business which shipped the seeds they had found to other plant lovers around the world. And while here, they made it their mission to find some of these ultra-rare gladioli seeds. And sure enough, on February 8th, 2020, Rod and Rachel sent a text to one of their employees at the seed mailing business, which contained a photo of the exact flower they were looking for. But despite this text seeming like a sign of more good things to come, the reality was far more bleak, as this text would ultimately be the last the couple would ever send.
Of course.
Out of nowhere, communication with Rod and Rachel had stopped entirely, and for days no one heard
This is one of the ranges in the world. You should never walk alone, and not forget to have any
survival gear with
you. Ooh.
And
So,
I'm also guessing by their age, they're probably not the most limber of people, even though they've probably been doing this forever, but still.
True. Just being out in the wilderness like this. Okay, so there's 3 of them, I'm guessing,
2.
together?
They're 2 together by themselves.
Oh, the other guy left?
Yeah, they left back. He's part of that crew. He left back to the base camp.
Okay. And they left them to wander back wherever.
Yeah.
anything from the duo, prompting that same employee they had sent the image to report them as missing on the 10th of February. It was a devastating turn of events, but one that was always a possibility. Poor weather, a wrong turn, an injury, anything could have derailed their expedition, as again, this area was notoriously dangerous, with it seeming all but certain that they had fallen victim to the unpredictable fury of Mother Nature. Though this...
So what would it have been that killed them?
A simple slip at the wrong place. You roll down the... Remember, like, we went out Pikes Peak?
Okay, so like mountain and falling.
Yeah. Remember how you were freaking out because we were going up the hill at Pikes Peak and you kept
mountain? It was not a hill.
It's a hill.
As a mountain. That's why it's called Pikes Peak.
Belief would quickly shift, thanks to the discovery of the couple's car. It was found by authorities abandoned by the edge of the Tugela River, and had been emptied of virtually everything inside. However, there was something left behind. As in the trunk, authorities would find a massive pool of blood. Blood that...
I don't think that was a slip and fall.
They slipped and fall in the back of their car.
Can I say... How many times can I use the demon card?
Hello,
welcome. Did they get attacked by a cryptid? A bear? Or the bears? Is bears a thing?
Oh no, things went south.
The demon card is infinite use.
Belonged to Rachel. Just days after filming, Rod and Rachel were making their way towards the Nagoy Forest Reserve, growing more and more excited by the discoveries they were making, oblivious to the fact that in the woods around them, they were being...
Can you react to my analog horror called Alien Along Horror? Analog horror.
I'm gonna take a picture of that just to hang on.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
After this, we're gonna do Left 4 Dead, so...
Yeah, after this, we're doing gameplay, so we will look it up for our next stream next weekend, if that's cool. Because that does sound interesting. I do find analog horror interesting.
I want to do SpongeBob Theory, because Tectone freaked out over it.
Ooh, gameplay, yep.
Watched,
That's
hunting
coming next
even,
after this video.
and not by an animal, but rather by a man.
Oh?
His name was Saifundin.
Okay, so I guess we neglected to think of serial killers in the wilderness.
To be fair, it's South Africa, so that's not uncommon down there, unfortunately.
Oh. Always bring a gun?
If you can own a gun.
Aslam Del Vecchio, a local of the area that the couple was traversing, and on February 9th, he allegedly sent a text to his wife, Bibi Patel, telling her that he had found a good target, and that he was now in pursuit, with said target being Rod and Rachel. Later that night, the couple made their camp and began to drift off in their tent, while Del Vecchio allegedly watched on, and once he was certain that they had fallen asleep, he made his move, approaching the tent, then tearing it open, and then standing above the couple. In the following moments, Rod and Rachel would be brutally bludgeoned to death before they could even react, as they lay helplessly, still inside their sleeping bags.
Okay, that's depressing. A nice, loving old couple who just wants to collect seeds and see beautiful, rare flowers gets murdered for no reason just because psychopath, again, using the demon card. This guy is definitely possessed by a demon because this monstrous kind of behavior. Oh my gosh.
This man is just evil.
This man is not a man. This man's a demon. Using the demon card again. This is gross.
Text messages indicate that Del Vecchio then enlisted the help of his wife Bibi, as well as his friend Musa Jackson, to help discard the bodies, using the couple's own car to transport them to the one place they were certain they would never be found. The Tugela River, as there was something about this stretch of water that they believed would make these bodies impossible to find. Crocodiles. And so they pulled up to the banks of the river as the crocodiles quietly watched on from a distance and dumped the bodies of Rod and Rachel into the water, where they were immediately devoured. They thought it was the perfect plan. However, it thankfully failed to work as well as they had hoped, as in the following weeks, fishermen would happen upon both of the corpses, or at least what remained of them, as they were in such bad shape that it would take nearly 2 full months for them to be identified. As for why this attack happened, we still don't fully know, as the
we know. Sick fuck, not human, is a demon.
He got the real Labubu.
Is monster. Fucking monsters.
Trial is still ongoing, with Delvicio proclaiming his innocence, which is why everything is alleged at the moment. But the evidence is damning. Messages on Delvicio's phone paint a clear picture that he was responsible for this, with his motive appearing to be religious differences between him and the Saunders, as well as money, as after the slayings, large sums of money were withdrawn from the couple's bank accounts, along with lavish purchases being made on their credit cards, with one of the receipts from the shopping spree being
he sounds like a serial killer. Yeah, this is a fucking psycho.
Or a Saund fan.
Same thing.
found inside of Bibi's purse. The evidence is almost impossible to deny, but while we wait for justice to be served, it's important to refocus on those who won't be here to see it happen. Rod and Rachel truly did nothing wrong. They were two incredibly wholesome people who were just trying to find and connect with the flower that they loved so dearly. And while their interview days before their death is an undeniably dark television moment, it also serves as an incredible tribute, as one of the last things they ever did in their lives was share their love and passion for gladioli with the world, the flower that they ultimately gave their lives to find.
Man, they didn't need to give their lives to find it. That's not... If it was death by nature, that's understandable, but this is just disgusting.
Death by human nature.
This is not human nature. This is monster nature. Human nature is not to kill others.
Yeah.
This is not human nature. This is just...
What a trek to get here, and what an incredible treat to see such a special plant in such a niche environment. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's nice to be here.
And now people is gone, and be more scared to take walks in the nature. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm definitely paranoid about going out.
Oh, we used to love going Pokemon Go at parks at night, and now we're...
Dude, I'll still never forget that day when we used to be living with your mom when we first started out, and we went for that walk at night, and that random car drove past us and shot at us with like some kind of BB gun.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was just a BB gun, and luckily they were a bad fucking aim. They only grazed the side of my pinky. God, I was freaking out. I like bolted back to our house. I don't think we had our phone or anything with us at the time.
Yeah.
And bolted back to the house, called the police, tried to give them whatever information we could. I hate people. I'm sorry, I really do.
Oh, and every time I swear I go for a walk, there's always got to be one guy that's got to honk the horn at me for no reason.
Oh yeah, that stupid kind of shit.
So...
Cars make me nervous to this day. Well, that was this video. Thank you all for joining us.
Bye.
Alright, we're gonna be right back.
Thank you all for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It would make me very happy. Kiss, kiss, hug, hug.